Danite Radio.
Welcome to the Counter Revolution.
Worst host ever, dude. Making us bring our own drinks.
Yeah.
What the heck, dude?
You stole those from your parents this time. Thief.
Freaking A. Hey, folks. Long time no see.
Sorry for the long one, folks. We had some technical difficulties. Our computer guy sucks.
Yeah.
We should probably kill him.
The back-end production guy just really can't get it together.
Hey, we are committed to bringing you top quality sound for free for you guys.
Hopefully I can bring the same passion for this one as I brought for the last one.
I'm sure it'll be super difficult for you.
I struggle, bro. How was your week?
Good. Bought a motorcycle this week.
Nice.
Oh, nice. What kind?
It's a Honda 1800. It's a big orange one.
You bought that? Oh. Good.
Yeah, I did.
You weren't going to, wait till he died and gamble that you might be the one that gets it in the battle royale?
Nah, he was ready to get out of his house.
Sweet, dude.
And I bought a chainsaw this week.
Don't die on that motorcycle. Because that motorcycle is a terrifying machine.
Oh my gosh. You're not kidding.
Dope. About you, Jace? Any motorcycles purchased for you?
No, I wish.
Yeah.
I want to get another one, but I'm trying to buy a house. And that kind of puts a damper on all the fun things you want to do.
Yeah. Are you guys for sure wanting to go south, or?
Yeah, Utah County is pretty much all we're okay with, excluding Saratoga and Lehigh.
You don't go there either?
No.
Too busy?
Yeah.
Too many people?
Too
I
much
agree.
traffic, really.
Have
That's
you
my
looked
problem.
up Midway Way at all?
Oh, yeah. There's the only thing in our price range is like vacation homes where they're
Porta
part of their
potties.
HOA. You're not allowed to live there as your primary residence.
They have
so.
porta potties for like $200,000 up there.
There's actually a sweet cabin you can get into for a third of a timeshare, if you'd like.
Nice.
I could live there a third of a year.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks every however that works out.
Sounds about right.
It was ridiculous. It's still like $200,000.
Or have you looked up Hobble Creek Canyon?
No,
There's some decent property
there
up
was
there.
a single bedroom, single bathroom in Provo Canyon, right there by that one that your dad's always interested in. But I don't want to live there.
Why?
I don't know. Something about living in the mouth of a canyon. I don't know. Doesn't seem great to me.
You don't like the idea of living on the Provo River?
Yeah.
Be all windy and stuff in the mornings. Dude, the mouth of that canyon is cold even in August, dude. In the
Yeah.
mornings, it sucks.
I can't imagine it in the middle of winter.
It sucks.
What about you, Rock? How's your week?
Good. Recently fell into the Facebook trap. I avoided it for like 15 years.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I'd like to interject here. Rocky on Facebook is the best for me.
Yeah, sorry.
Because he's always on it, and he's always finding something that makes him so mad.
Because he needed that in his life.
Oh, we'll talk about that coming up, folks.
Lucky for you.
So, Mother's Day, I was talking to my sister-in-laws. Are we doing this over again like this?
Yeah.
All right. And unless somebody else had something they wanted to share from their week.
No, I'm good.
And we, my one sister-in-law was telling my other sister-in-law about how they canceled the Stadium of Fire and the Balloon Festival in Provo.
Stadium of Fire.
Yeah,
That one.
don't do that. And she was saying, my other sister-in-law said, I wish that we wouldn't depend so much on the government. To which my other sister-in-law who brought it up said, oh, only liberals depend on the government like that.
Ooh. Nice.
Conservatives don't. So
Not at all.
I'm going to utilize this podcast to show why conservatives also depend more on the government than they should. They just turn a blind eye to certain things that yeah.
So I guess before we get into that, what political party are you?
No, I'm Republican to go to caucuses, but because you can go to Democratic caucuses in the state of Utah without being a Democrat, but you can't go to Republican. But I've really been struggling with the
Republican Party.
the caucus system. Anyways, like I'm getting close to being count my vote because it's just a giant popularity fest. The last time I went to a caucus, I ran for delegate. Every time I ran for every delegate seat, I got up on stage, said, and they gave us 1 minute to talk. Nobody even asked questions and we voted. Which makes zero sense to me. Like, how do you even, because I've lived in my house for 6 years. I don't know enough about any of my neighbors to vote them into, you know? Like,
Sure.
okay, sorry, that doesn't make any sense to me. So
Sure.
I might just disavow from a Republican Party altogether, but I wouldn't consider myself a Republican, and I'm sure that everyone who listens to this podcast won't think I'm a Republican either.
Yeah, that's correct. That is a fair point.
The Bernie sticker on your car is what.
Oh
made me
yeah,
realize.
I feel the burn, sir. I feel the burn.
No, it's the Ron Paul sticker, bro. The coolest sticker on any car ever.
Yeah, I actually think I wrote Ron Paul in this last election.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but I'm all Trump this time, so
Was it Ron Paul or Rand Paul that wanted to legalize everything?
Ron.
Okay.
But Rand's pretty similar. He just plays the game a little better than his dad does.
I gotcha.
Not that Ron was terrible at it. Ron, I mean, became a senator, but I think pre-Trump era, Rand might have had a chance at the White House. I don't think Ron ever had one. He was like the Bernie of the Republican
Yeah.
Party.
Yeah.
But
The Bernie of the right.
yeah, but he, but I think post-Trump era, who knows who's got a chance, you know?
I Googled Ron Paul real quick just to
Yeah.
get a little more on him. And
Yeah.
apparently he's in Bruno, the movie.
Oh, dude, have you seen that?
No.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yikes. Again.
He not so much willingly is in that movie. Like he didn't know he was going to be in it until he was in it,
Wow.
and it is. Do you want to hear it or do you want to watch it?
Yes.
So
Just tell us.
Bruno,
Spoiler alert.
Bruno,
Oh, you guys
yeah,
haven't seen
spoiler
the movie, it came out
alert.
in
Is
2009.
that the one with John Heater? Bruno's John Heater?
no, Bruno is the Borat guy. Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
And he, so Bruno comes to America. He's a gay dude. He decides that in order to get famous, he needs to make a sex tape with somebody famous. So he calls, somehow he gets Ron Paul to come do an interview with him. And instead of doing an interview, he just starts taking off his clothes, dude. Ron Paul finally figures out what's going on and flips out, dude. Like, there's, like, Ron Paul's like, he's an effing queer. He's an effing queer. Like, just screaming about it.
I'm going to have to watch it. I didn't realize
Dude,
that.
it's brutal, dude. That show is brutal, dude. That show makes Americans look so bad, dude.
Nice.
So bad. Like, oh.
Probably accomplished everything it was hoping.
If you want to laugh for an hour and a half straight, go watch Bruno. But if you have sensitive eyes and ears, don't go watch Bruno. But
Duly noted. Duly noted.
anywho,
We digress.
we digress. Back to what I was saying. So I said to my sister-in-law, I said, conservatives do that too. And there was some stuff going on and I got distracted, so I wasn't able to explain myself very good. So I decided I'm going to send her this podcast so she knows my beliefs. But my nephew was there too, kind of listening, and I said, conservatives do that too. I mean, look at arbitrary speed limits, for example. You know, and of course,
And here we are. We're off the rails. Rocky is no longer Republican in your eyes.
My,
dear listener.
Look, we have the ability to do 80 miles an hour with easy and be able to and have plenty of stopping time. And here's the other thing about what you said about like stopping distances and stuff like that. The thing about the freeway, it's so rare that you have to come to a complete stop.
Yeah, and
You
most
know?
situations in that is you weren't paying attention anyways. That's
And
where
if-
the accidents come from.
Yeah, and if you get in an accident, you typically, I mean, it's rare that you just nail something,
Yeah.
that's stopped. Like that is so rare. Like you are either rear-ending a guy who's still moving, which takes away a lot of that, And so, but anyways, again, I digress. So we have the technology. We should be able to do 80 miles an hour anywhere we go. I firmly believe that if the higher the speed limit, I firmly believe that traffic would be less as well. We wouldn't be sitting there breathing toxic fumes in bumper to bumper traffic.
Well, and it would keep the roadways clearer. If
Yeah.
there's less accidents, the roadways aren't going to get backed up.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even know if there will be less accidents. There could be the same amount. There could be a few more. All risks I'm willing to take. And I don't think speed limits are the cause of it. I think that people in the left lane going too slow are the cause of it. And people not using their blinkers are the cause of it. I don't think that speed has that much to do with it. Anyone?
No.
So
We're listening intently.
So, in my mind, when a conservative is all about speed limits, and it's typically a conservative person in the left lane trying to slow everyone down, doing 69 miles an hour in a 70, I don't get why we obey these laws. And proof that they don't care about your safety, they only care about your money, is the carpool lane. The carpool lane, that double line in the carpool lane does not keep anyone safer. It's changing lanes in and out of lanes. That's stupid. All that double line is for is so they can fine you for one more thing involving that carpool lane. It's in order to stop people from going into the carpool lane. And the fact that you can buy your way into that carpool lane, you don't even have to be carpooling. You can pay a toll and get in there. Shows you right there. They don't care about the environment. They don't care about safety. They only care
About your money.
And cops can protect and serve all they want. How are you protecting or serving me through that carpool lane?
Sure.
You are not. You are not. You're not protecting anything. And as far as the speed limits go, let's say the death toll goes up. Let's say the death toll goes up 5%, which there's no evidence of. The safest highway in Utah is the stretch between
Fillmore and St. George.
Fillmore and St. George, where it's 85 miles an hour.
Actually, it might be Nephi and St. George.
Yeah, there's no evidence that higher speed causes more accidents. Maybe more fatal accidents. Okay, I can live with that. But are you trading protection for freedom at that point? Are you living your life to the fullest if you're stuck in traffic for 3 hours every Friday night? Because that's how it goes. Traffic is a nightmare on Fridays if you're going anywhere.
Well, that's the entire reason that Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter accident.
Exactly.
Because he chartered a helicopter because he didn't have time. His time was too valuable to spend it in traffic.
Exactly. So, my first example of conservatives trading protection for freedom, having the government protect them, having the government make them feel better, is speed limits and overactive policing.
Sure.
My next example. Did I go straight into Mexico?
I think you talked about your. I think this is important. Talked about your dog getting hit,
Oh yeah. So
and I think it's an important distinction.
sure, my dog got hit the other day, last Friday, and the girl was speeding past my house. She's doing, I don't know. My guess would be 40, but I don't have any way to prove it. She hit my dog. My dog was running out in the road. My son, who's super protective of that dog, was chasing after him. My wife said, "Stop!" To him, because she saw the speeding car coming. She said, "I don't want you to get hit. It's one thing if we lose the dog, And next thing we know, and as she's explaining that to him, the girl hits our dog. We hear thump, a big thump, and the dog goes spinning through the air, and then yiping, And this girl, first of all, miraculously the dog's okay. Just comes running around, freaking out, not even limping though, just walking around the car. The girl stops, says, "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry." So what do I do at that point? The dog's fine. Should I call the cops and then what? Get her fined? Which is more likely to slow her down? The fine from the cop or the fact that she almost killed a person's dog in front of his 4 kids? Right in front of them. And they were freaking out. The twins saw it. There too. They were screaming. They all saw it. So I know it sucks that it has to come to that, but that is the nature of freedom. You make decisions and then you pay the consequences. You don't get a fine for making the wrong decision. That's an artificial consequence that is not the government's job. The government's job is to punish is to get justice for said crimes. And speeding is not the crime. Killing a dog is the crime. Killing my kid on that street is the crime. And so let's say she had killed my dog. I still don't think I would have called the cops on her. I think that killing someone's dog in front of their family is punishment enough.
Consequence.
And
a lesson enough.
However,
to help
had
her
she
slow down
killed
in the
my
future.
kid, yes, the cops would have needed to be involved. And she probably, could have gone to jail for reckless driving. I don't know. I don't think I'd have pushed for that, but.
And she potentially could have been sent to prison for vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah, for sure.
As well as given a traffic ticket for speeding.
For sure.
Just check that one on there.
So
Which is a ridiculous thing.
I have a experience where I witnessed where it could have been an extremely tragic
Sure.
thing. Max could have ran out there and got hit and killed. Even the dog could have got hit and killed. So, but I'm not going to let that. I'm not going to live in fear from that. I'm not going to demand that the police do more. It's not the cops' job. And I've heard, and another example of the cops not being in it for our protection, I've heard of guys wanting to put speed bumps in front of their house, and the city's telling them
in theory,
no.
that's the only thing that's going to preemptively slow
Sure,
them down.
sure. That's what's going to slow people down.
If you've ever received a
not the
speeding
fear
ticket,
of a ticket.
that
Yeah.
doesn't slow people down.
So I've heard of guys like, "Oh, I'll pay for the speed bump. I want to put it in front of my house," and the city goes, "No." So why? Because they want to lose out on revenue from speeding tickets, or because they actually want to slow cars down? That would, and that what we got into this too. Payson, a city of 20,000 people, pays a police force $1.2 million. That I think that's just payroll. I'm not sure though. You can get on the Payson website and look it up. And it's a rough
That's $1.2
estimate.
million dollars a year.
Yeah.
Well, if you, just quick math, if they have a police force of 20 cops and they're paying them $50,000 a year, that's $1 million in payroll.
Yeah, they don't have that many cops. But I'm not sure.
You don't think they have 20?
Maybe they do. Yeah.
Pleasant Grove has more than that, and Pleasant Grove's not that much bigger than Payson.
Maybe they do. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's a crap load of money for a populace of 20,000 people.
Sure.
We don't have that much crime
A
in
populace
Payson.
of hardened criminals.
Yeah.
20,000 hardened criminals.
Do you know what those cops do? They pull people over. And you know what? The only place that they're appreciated and useful as far as traffic control is there's a super dangerous crosswalk on a really busy road that the kids cross to get to school, and they're there once a month, slowing people down.
That's so nice of them.
Yeah. Not there every day,
But with that, people only go slow when that cop is there.
I know.
It's 100% ineffective.
100%.
I guess 98% ineffective.
But what are we paying them for? What are they so busy doing that they can't be at that crosswalk?
Do you think they buy donuts on like a government card? No. What about when they're on shift? It's like
That one sheriff got fired for that. Gill or something. He was buying gas for his personal vehicle, and the gas card, he got fired for it. So
yeah, but if they're on shift and they're buying gas for the car,
could be.
buying
I don't know.
donuts on the company card, bro. The
I don't
government
know.
card.
Wasn't there a third thing I talked about before? Like a second thing I talked about before we got into?
Stoplights, probably.
Roundabouts as well.
Roundabouts.
Yeah. So
Oh, the
agreed.
M4 thing.
Agreed. $1.2 million a year could buy a lot of speed bumps and a lot of roundabouts if they were really interested in traffic prevention. But they won't do it because they're not in it to protect you anyways. And
How much could a speed bump cost, and how many citizens are willing to buy their own?
yeah, and I would buy one for my.
That comes
Yeah,
back
for
to
sure.
that comes back to taxation.
Mm-hmm.
If a government function is truly necessary, people will pay for it. Mm-hmm. They'll buy. You don't need to tax us for it if it's truly necessary.
Sure. And
People
like
will
you
pay
said,
for it. If
and
roads
like
are
I
necessary,
said-
people will pay for it.
Like I said, I don't think it's the government's job to protect me from other people. It's
Sure.
my job. So I'll pay for the freaking speed bump. Why can't I put it in? Why can't me and the neighbor across the road agree, hey, we could go for a speed bump here? Put it in. You know? But we can't. So, again, we're not even trading protection for freedom at that point. They're taking my freedom to protect myself. Right? Which
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go into guns. But the next thing. Another, you know what, there is another example of how I know they're in it for money. And this example was pointed out to me by somebody. There was a man in New York selling loosies, which a loosie is a loose cigarette. They go to New Jersey where the taxes are super low on cigarettes. Take them to New York where they're like $5 a pack, and sell loose cigarettes for 75 cents a pop or whatever. And it's illegal because of
Money, taxes.
yeah, taxes. That's it. That's the only reason it's illegal. It's not like New Jersey cigarettes are super more toxic than New York cigarettes. It's 100% taxes. Well, this cop, go ahead.
Yeah. No, they just want the taxes from it. It's illegal because it's a revenue stream that they can't tap.
This cop goes to this man, says, hey, what are you doing selling these cigarettes? You can't do that. Guy says, why? I have a right to provide for my family. I have a right to do all this stuff. Cops trying to arrest him. He resists arrest. Problem. I get it. That is a problem. Don't resist arrest, people. It's stupid. That badge gives that cop a license to kill you. So don't resist arrest. But,
And a fraternity of men who will defend
Yes.
his actions.
yeah, but, cop puts him in a chokehold, kills him.
In a chokehold? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's gnarly.
Ultimately, what did that man die for? A tax that made the T-tax of 1775 look like a joke. For reals?
Well,
That cop
it's
killed
like a
that man.
400% markup.
Yeah, that cop killed that man over an unfair tax. And conservatives are going to back that guy's play. Oh, he shouldn't have resisted arrest. Maybe he should have. Maybe they shouldn't have done the Boston Tea Party then if that man shouldn't have resisted arrest. Right?
Yeah.
Is that the way? Is that the protection you're trading? But if you call out that cop's bad actions, all of a sudden you're pro-crime. You're pro-crime. How am I pro-crime? The guy was selling legal stuff that was only made illegal because of an unjust tax. A chicken crap tax that all politicians, oh, we can pass this because everyone hates smoking. You know, we can tyrannize the minority because of one disgusting habit that they have.
Sure. Because the majority thinks that smoking is bad.
Mm-hmm. Even the minority thinks that smoking is bad. They just can't quit.
And say it's pretty fair to say
Yeah.
everyone thinks
They know.
smoking
Well,
is bad.
right,
They know.
right.
Nobody
but,
goes, I'm going to smoke so I can live longer,
Exactly.
But it's taxed because
Yeah. It's taxed because
it's
of that
considered
ideology.
bad. It's easy to tax because it's considered bad.
Which is a good segue into the next topic, which is the illegal or the
Drug trade.
the drug trade and the drug war, the failed drug war.
Folks, this is when you're really going to think, oh, he is for sure not a Republican.
This is stage 2. If we didn't already convince you, here we go.
But you're also not going to think, oh, he's a Democrat either. Trust me.
That's right. So
You're just not going to like him anymore.
the war on drugs. I've seen. We talked about the last podcast. We talked about my aunt who lived a horrible life because of drugs and died in a car with someone who was high driving, but we don't know if that caused the crash. It seems like they got a stop sign ran on them. But
Yeah, I think they were turning left at a green arrow and somebody came through the red light.
T-bone them. Okay.
That's my understanding.
So, but then I have another aunt who lived a crappy life because of drugs and then died of an opioid overdose. I think heroin, but I don't know that either.
Potentially, it was legal opioids.
On my recent Facebook, I just found a kid that I didn't know had died, and I don't know what he died of, but given his past, I'd assume it was opioids. I knew several kids in high school that died in direct drug overdoses or drug-related depression, a million things. Let me just say, and with the opioid epidemic that makes COVID-19 look like a chump,
As far as the number of people
Yeah.
that it kills and consistency
Yeah.
of death when it wrapped up in the world of opioids.
yeah, the drug war has failed, 100%. And not to mention the illegal drug trade keeps Mexico impoverished and corrupt. The corruption leads to the impoverishment because no society survives that kind of corruption without prosecution.
No society survives a criminal underbelly controlling everything.
Yeah.
So I have a quick thing real fast before we get too far away. Just doing a little bit of research on Google real quick. The war on drugs was officially started in 1971. And following that, drug arrests have risen from about 400,000. I'm not sure what the qualifying numbers are behind this, but for this graph, which was from the Department of Justice, is under 400,000 to almost 2 million a year in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, just off the bat, arrests have gone up remarkably by just a huge amount. But I can't find anything that shows any progress. Like there's no qualifying evidence saying that the war on drugs has been effective in any way.
Sure. 100%.
Well, it has been effective. We've been able to take 2
We
million
found all of
drug,
them. We know
drug
where all the
users
drugs are.
off the street. 2 million dangerous drug users off the street.
Oh yeah, we helped them.
For sure.
We have been able to strip 2 million people caught in a dangerous illness. Addiction can be is classified as an illness. Have been taken off the street and stripped of their freedoms.
Mm-hmm. Well done. Well done. So, yeah. And along those lines, so we need to look no further than prohibition of alcohol. All right? Notice there's not a bunch of dangerous alcohol cartels running around
Never heard of one.
murdering. Oh, I've heard of them,
Well, not.
but they're dead.
Not now.
They're gone, right?
There's none
Al
currently.
Capone's successor doesn't exist.
Why are they gone? Because we legalized alcohol again, right?
No money to be made by trading
So-
it illegally.
What's the difference?
We're still scared of one.
The violence is
scared of
happening.
drugs.
That violence is happening in Mexico.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
And parts of the United States. There are drug rings in the United States
Sure.
that commit heinous acts of violence in defense of an illegal drug trade.
Sure, but not in the blatant way that,
Yeah,
that
sure.
they
It-
do
it
in
can be
Mexico
covered
and
up
that
and
they
blamed.
did in Al Capone's day,
Sure.
you know?
It's a lot easier to cover it up and blame it on gang violence
Sure.
and other things.
And just let the Mexicans die is our
yeah,
is
kind
our
the
point of
attitude
view,
that's
right?
taken.
which is horrible.
It's not verbalized, but
Yeah.
the actions prove it.
So here's what we're doing as a country. We are taking a heroin addict's right to ruin his own life and kill himself, make his own decisions, kill himself. At the
Slowly.
same time, we're taking innocent Mexican families getting caught in crossfire. We're taking their right to live because we can't let that man choose to ruin his own life. If we're so worried about people ruining their lives, why is debt legal? Debt ruins lives all the time. Gambling ruins lives all the time. And I'm not saying those things should be illegal. I'm all about legal. Legalize drugs. Save Mexican lives. Legalize drugs.
It seems to be that the only things legal are the ones we can successfully tax.
Yeah. Save Mexican lives. If it comes down to, let's say they legalize it, and drug overdoses go up by 5%. You know, let's say 10%. But deaths in Mexico drop dramatically. Mexico is no longer corrupt, and it becomes a thriving place to live. Would you rather be responsible for people choosing to kill themselves, knowing what they're imbibing in, or an entire third world country that lives right next door with the same resources as the world's premier first world country, and it's still a third world country because that first world country's problem with drugs?
I'd be willing to bet that drug overdoses and death rates would go down as a result of legalization because people would be able to get help.
I think overdoses would stay the same, but what's that freaking movie? Oh, Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Have you seen when she overdoses?
Yeah.
And he takes her to his dealer's house because he can't take her to the hospital. If he takes her to the hospital, it'll get reported to the cops. And fortunately, his dealer has an adrenaline shot. They revive her, but that's not always the case. And yeah, that's a movie. It's easy to write that off as, that's a fictional thing. That happens. That's a real thing that occurs all the time in this country.
100%. There was a kid in Pleasant Grove. His friends just dropped him off on his porch. He OD'd. He died on his front porch because they didn't want to get busted. And I get it. That's a moral breakdown, but that's caused by and it's caused by drugs. But still, they know what they're getting into. And if it was legal, it wouldn't be a problem. It wouldn't matter what kind of slimy character they had. They could still. It would still be an option to call the authorities and get somebody there to save their life. And back to Mexico. Name me. People will say, that's not what Mexico's problem is. What is it then? You tell me what it is. Billions and billions of dollars flood that country every year in a black market way that can't be shown to the government, and we're expecting these criminals not to commit criminal acts of corruption, not to pay politicians.
Well, and if you watch Narcos, even in Colombia, same thing. If you watch Narcos, Pablo Escobar, you know how many government officials, United States government officials, he paid off?
Yep.
You know how popular he was with governments across the world because he's unfathomably rich and has an entire country under his thumb. Mm-hmm. Has an entire country kept in a third world state because
That's right.
Because of greed, really.
So that right there, the drug one is the worst, the most egregious in my mind. There is you are trading protection for freedom. You think you're protecting your children from drugs by making them illegal. You're not. You're not. I've seen it. You're not. And even if you were, it's your job to teach your kids, and it's your kids' job not to do those things.
So, I guess let's kind of bring it back in, make it a little more personal. You had some experience using drugs and alcohol, not heroin. I don't think nothing harder than marijuana probably, or more. I don't know, right? Nothing harder than
Rocky's nodding in agreement.
Marijuana. So how did you stop? What stopped you?
Well, we talked about that experience I had with Mom taking me to get my aunt out of jail. That was what I knew. At that point, I knew I'd never
touch the hard stuff?
Never.
Then what stopped you from using alcohol, legal drugs, even though they weren't legal at the time?
Yeah, so I did like 5 years of mandatory outpatient rehab. And I did 5 years because I kept messing up, relapsing, and they kept starting me over. And then about probably a year after I got out of rehab, I almost lost my entire family over alcohol, and I quit. So real consequences, not government consequences, did it.
How much did that government-mandated rehab cost you?
$10,000.
Oh, $10,000 in fines?
No, it didn't. It wasn't even fines. I had to pay the rehab place, and the fine. I did pay fines. It was probably more like $15,000, including fines.
Sure, and it's not even the rehab is not a fine the way we think of it, but it is. It's a government-mandated. X amount of money you have to pay for X consequence for X bad decision that they've arbitrarily made illegal.
So.
And it did nothing.
Nothing. Not a thing.
It did nothing.
So, we don't experience freedom in this country like everyone seems to think we do. I had a Facebook altercation, like I do.
That's why I love his Facebook account.
It was, I should have probably looked this up and got it ready before, but I wasn't sure if I was going to share it. But my friend posted something, my friend who hopefully will be on this podcast soon.
We love him.
Yeah, we love him.
Hey,
He
Steve-O.
posted...
We
He-
know you're listening.
posted a picture of the N96 masks?
N95.
N95 masks
Respirators,
that,
Is that the medical mask? Okay.
Can be. It's really anything. It's just a particulate filter. It can filter out like up to 97.66 of small particles under a certain size, something like that.
well, this picture shows the guy was doing drywall. He took off his mask, he had drywall dust all over his face and up his nose.
Underneath the mask.
Yeah. So he was showing that it doesn't work. To which I commented sarcastically, yeah, but I feel better if everyone is forced to wear a mask.
Oh.
Which got a lot of laughs. There were some laughs in there, some thumbs up. Well, there was a guy who didn't catch the sarcasm. So he starts teaching me about my, where I'm wrong.
Your insolence.
First, he says, forced is the wrong word to use for Americans. We will not take so much, and that's it. We will take so much, and that's it. To which I say, really? Like $1 billion drug war, stupid speed limits, that's all. But that's all we'll take. Anyway, so I just respond, perhaps, because I didn't want to get into it. Well, that wasn't enough for John. Oh, for this guy.
John Doe.
John Doe. He said, Ronald Reagan said there were many generations Ronald Reagan said we are only a generation from losing our liberties and freedoms. My great plus grandfather, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, James Madison, General Nathaniel Greene, Captain Archibald Wilson risked, I don't know, founding fathers,
He's
I'd
just
assume.
listing founding fathers he's related to.
Risked
weird flex.
everything so that we wouldn't have to live under a tyrant. It concerns me that many in this generation are so weak. Now, this is why I responded. Have we had the generation talk on this podcast yet?
Oh,
Because it's
no.
about to get brutal with
No.
older people.
We might want to save that one for an entire
Oh
an
no!
hour. By
It's the
We'll
the
revisit.
dam has been broken open.
oh man,
Wait, we need to-
What are we at time wise?
We got time. We got time.
So
But I think we need to pause that just for a second.
okay,
He's using Ronald Reagan as an example. We're one generation away from losing our liberty. Potentially, this is going to be super unpopular, but the head architect of the drug war.
yeah, I don't think it was started under Reagan, but he definitely took the reins when he
Sure.
he got in. Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Proceed. Generation talk.
It concerns me that this generation are so weak. I believe that half the problem is the history of this great nation is no longer taught the way it should be in our schools. As for my family, they know it's part of their heritage and they must never forget.
Good
So-
on you, Mr. Doe.
I don't know if I should read my comment or if I should just
Better read your comment.
all right. I agree that many were raised by poor parents. Oh, wait. No, sorry, wrong.
jeez.
I said, first of all, my comment was sarcastic. I agree 100%. In fact, I wonder what those founders would say if they knew a man in New York a few years back was killed by police for not paying cigarette tax. I also wonder how they would feel about us following arbitrary speed limits and stupid, ineffective carpool lane laws. I wonder what the founders' thoughts would be on the billions of dollars we spend on a drug war that doesn't work and keeps our neighbors to the south in corruption and poverty. I'm part of this weak generation, sir. I love freedom so much, I'm willing to let people make their own decisions, even bad ones that might affect me. My generation was raised by your generation. We inherited this nanny state, a weak frame of mind from the society your generation created, sir.
Beautiful.
Nice.
What part of my political thinking makes you think that my generation is so much weaker than yours, sir? And I'm not the only one that thinks we should legalize these dangerous drugs. That runs rampant through my generation. Yes, we are weak-minded in some areas. But guess what? There's a lot of retards in your generation too, sir. You really think that... How is it that we inherited this nanny state from your generation? All these problems were created by you. And now we come in, we agree with the things that your generation put into place, and now all of a sudden we're the weak
The
ones?
social programs created by
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
generation.
We didn't vote any of these people in. The first time I voted was against Barack Obama. That's how long I've been voting for, sir. How many times have you voted? Who have you voted for?
The first time I voted was the election for Donald Trump.
Yeah. How are we responsible for anything that's going on in this country?
We're weak-minded.
Yeah.
We're
weak.
weak-minded.
It's that
You're
We
right.
created the
You're
problems
right.
in this country with our weak minds.
You're right. There are weak-minded people at colleges who think that fighting against freedom of speech is a good idea. But guess who teaches them that crap? Your generation of
guy.
freaking professors.
It's not a new theory.
Yeah.
The idea
Exactly.
of caving to the the powers that be is not a new idea that was created in the 1990s.
And I would also challenge him here. Read the Gulag Archipelago. Does that seem like a weak generation of Russians to you? No. It's a generation fed up with certain things, and a strong man comes in and takes over. The herd mentality is causes people to be weak no matter what generation they're in, sir. So I don't see how I get so tired of that. This generation's so weak and so lazy. Really? What do you do for a living, mister? Because I bet my job's a lot freaking harder physically than yours is, and I work out at least 4 days a week. Am I the weak generation? I got 2 coworkers that are the same way. One of them's in my generation. Is he the weak generation?
And one of them's not in your generation. He's older than you. Well, he's a workhorse. He's absolutely a workhorse.
But he doesn't work. He doesn't work out after. All I'm saying, look. Here's what I'm getting at. You cannot, you've got to stop with the generation talk, because guess who the generation is that's stuck in this mess that your generation helped create and is going to have to get us out at some point? Yours. And you're right. There are people in my generation that are stupid. Stupid. I saw some stupid posts about we declare martial law in order to keep people in for COVID-19. That was one of my friends growing up that said that. Now I know how this friend was raised. It doesn't surprise me at all that he said that. But
you mean that thought process was a learned
Yeah,
thought process?
yeah.
Almost
the
like his
idea of-
generation before him taught him that.
yeah, no, that's
Weird.
exactly what happened,
Weird.
sir. That's exactly what happened.
What?
Is that what you're getting at this whole time?
Yeah. So shut up about the generation stuff, because your generation is just as stupid as mine
Every
is.
generation has plenty of terrible
The
people.
difference, we have social media we have to deal with about it. That's it. That's the only difference. So everyone knows our stupid
access.
point of views. But not only does everyone know our stupid point of views, but everyone knows everything about our lives. We are exposed in a way that your generation still probably doesn't understand and will never understand. And the generation before yours definitely won't understand. So not only are we dealing with the problems that you created, but we're dealing with a whole new set of problems, new throughout all of history.
Stupidity and weakness are learned behaviors. They're not generational.
The
they don't appear.
The political problems come from the generations before us. But the mental health problems and the privacy problems are problems that you never had to deal with, sir, and you never will.
Not to this extent.
Not to this extent, and not to the extent I won't even deal with it to the extent my kids will deal with it.
Yeah.
And that industry is expanding so rapidly, you won't even deal with it to the extent that I deal with it. We're what, 10 years apart?
Yeah.
That the extent that you and I have a different experience with social media is unbelievable.
Yep. So you can blame anyone you want, but if I were you, I'd start looking at myself and my generation.
Start with the
because my generation didn't cause any of these problems. They weren't taught what your generation is teaching them. But they have some culpability. They learned it. They didn't think it through. They didn't do their own research. They didn't read their own books. But that doesn't alleviate your generation's flaws. That's for sure. So that's all I have to say about that. Shut up with the generation talk, because you don't know anything about the generation that's following you.
I like it.
Amen.
And all that being said, I'm not discounting the wisdom of the people before me. There are very wise men who have lived long lives and whose life experiences I can learn from, for sure.
But they don't know everything.
Yeah, they don't know everything, and my generation is not at fault for the people that you voted into office. For reals. That's the worst part about it. Jace, what are you, 23?
Yeah.
Yeah. How can Jace be blamed for anything, the game? How can Jace be blamed at all for the nanny state that we live in? And we lived in a nanny state way, 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 way before COVID-19 hit.
Follow-up question. Have you voted, Jace?
No, I've never registered to vote.
Jace has never voted. How can he be blamed? Register to vote.
I think it's because...
I kind of do it out of protest because...
No. It's the voter ID, right? Like you can't get an ID, so...
Yeah. It's my race holding me back. It's really hard being white.
Anyway, oh yeah. Trust me, I know, dude.
Just so much racism in the world.
Anyways, sorry, what were you saying?
A lot of what's holding me back is the where Rocky's going earlier with the just count my vote type of thing. That's kind of where I fall in almost all elections.
Mm-hmm.
I don't align very well with either side. I'm very centered, to be honest. I lean Republican, but very centered.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I can. Fine.
I know that's a terrible
vote,
outlook,
right?
and I
No.
encourage people to register to vote, but I can't follow my own advice.
No, it's. I'm so far beyond like judging people for not voting. Like it's a crapshoot, anyways. You know, and yeah. Never mind.
We digress.
Why?
Go ahead. Tear me apart.
No, I'm not going to tear you apart. I'm just like,
Why would we tear you apart?
why did my 18-year-old alcoholic, retarded, non-property owning self have the same amount of say as my super successful, good for the community father did when I was 18?
Yeah. Well, and another huge problem I have with the voting process is you don't have to be an informed voter of any kind to vote. There's many funny videos about this. The most recent one I watched was an election. I don't remember how Joe Biden was involved, but the voting was for him and something else, some kind of caucus maybe, I'm not sure. But a girl went around interviewing people that were voting for Joe Biden. And then follow-up question was for the Pete Buttigieg guy. And the interviewer went up to this old lady and she's like, "Why are you voting for Pete?" And she's like, "He's a nice, down-to-earth guy. He's very energetic, blah, 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 blah." And then the interviewer goes, "So how do you feel about his husband?" And she says, "Oh, he's not gay." And she goes, "Yeah, he's married to a man. Like, most of his platform kind of rolls back into the being gay thing and LGBT rights and stuff." And she goes, "Oh, can I take this back?" Because she had already voted at this point. So it's just,
How old was she?
I'd guess 65-ish.
65-ish, huh?
That's
Yeah.
strong generation.
But my generation's weak for sure.
strong generation.
generation
You wouldn't
is
understand.
cheap,
Marty. But
You don't
anyways,
understand strength.
Yeah.
I have a huge problem with the uninformed voter. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I feel like I'm much more informed than
Sure.
all of my friends I know that vote. I have a much better understanding of what's going on, and
Which is why it's super frustrating to go to a caucus when
yeah, it's just
when there's
ridiculous.
65-year-old women just like that at the
They
caucus.
go in for a name because they know the guy, they know the guy's cousin.
He's such a nice man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I agree. I'm with you. I'm beyond judging anybody. I used to get super judgmental about stuff like that. Now I'm like, why?
I'm big on
Why would
freedom
you?
now.
Yeah.
You do what you want. It's your choice.
Yep. So, yeah. What do you think?
I have a little more I'd like to share real
All
quick.
right.
And I talked about it last time, but it stayed with me. It stayed important in my brain. Alexis de Tocqueville.
Oh yeah.
The American Republic will endure until the day Congress discovers that it can bribe the public with the public's money. And that's, I'm not even referencing the stimulus check that we all received this last, because that certainly applies.
Mm-hmm.
But we're being bribed with safety and protection at the price of money and at the price of they're running a corrupt business enterprise in order to hold down the people of the United States. That freaking movie. He says a government should be afraid of its people, not the people of its government. V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta.
A magnificent film. Everybody should watch it. But he says a government should be afraid of its people, not a people of its government. And it's the same principle. It's the same idea. We are sacrificing freedom for the guys, the pretend protection and safety. And all of that protection and safety we've been promised didn't protect your dog when it got hit by that car.
Nope.
And it didn't protect our aunts who died both of them in drug-related incidents.
Mm-hmm.
But we were promised protection and safety from those things. We were promised the protection from losing a family member to drugs and alcohol. We're promised that protection, and we don't receive it. It doesn't exist. We're promised protection from watching your son die on your porch in a drug-related incident. That won't happen because of the war on drugs. We're successfully doing away with those kinds of things. Clearly, we're not, because they're happening. They happen. So it's a false sense of protection and safety that we're promised in return for we shut up, we fall in line, and we pay our money when we owe it. We do what we're told, and we follow like sheep.
Yeah. And we've spent billions of dollars on this drug war to protect us. And my guess would be it rivals how much we've spent on the welfare state. Everyone thinks that that's referring to welfare only, and it's not. It's referring to all these stupid programs. It's referring to the $1.2 million Payson spends on police. What is Payson doing? They're buying our votes, buying our protection. Now, whoever implemented that can say, yeah, but I support these police that protect you. Which I've seen the police in Payson. I'd probably do a better job of protecting myself.
Nothing like seeing a cop you could beat up without trying.
And we didn't even get into that. Like, I'm a way more effective protector of what's mine
Yeah.
than a cop is.
How long does it take a cop to get to your house if somebody's in it?
Yep.
I live
You'd be
10
long
minutes from
gone.
the police station.
You'd be
And
dead,
that's
he'd
if
be
there's a
long
cop there ready to go. So 10 minutes minimum.
gone. Yep.
Unless there's one that's somehow close by your house. But still, in the amount of time that you could protect yourself with a weapon or just with self-detect.
Just with my fist.
Yeah.
The altercation would be over.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I think this is a super fitting podcast to release for Memorial Day.
Oh,
I like it.
Because, remember, the price of your freedom. That's what this weekend's all about.
Yep.
That's what Memorial Day is all about. Remember the price of your freedom and contemplate
Yep.
what it is that bought it.
Your freedom might cost you a little journey out of your comfort zone once in a while.
Because money will buy you false protection, but freedom was
Yep.
purchased in blood.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, happy Memorial Day,
Have
folks.
we pushed this issue?
I think we pushed it.
Okay, just remember one thing before we hang up, folks. You're not really black if you don't listen to us.
What?
Oh my gosh.
You didn't hear that?
No.
Oh.
Now you got to ruin the whole end of the podcast. Tell me the story.
Joe Biden, dude, was getting interviewed by a
Oh.
black guy, and the black guy's like, "Don't do this to black media," and Joe Biden's like,
If you vote for Trump.
he's like, the black guy's like, he finally was like, all right, well, if you gotta go, let's, what do you, he said, we gotta meet up in New York. I got more questions to ask you. He's like, more questions? Well, I tell you what, if you vote for Trump, you're not really black. And then they hang up.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That would
so-
explain all the Mike Perry tweets that I saw. He's a strong proponent of being black, even though he's white.
He is weird about that, isn't he? I
Yeah.
forgot. Yeah, he's
He's
weird.
real fond of the N-word.
Oh, yeah.
He's a brain scrambled MMA fighter.
But how many black guys have the guts to say anything to him?
Nobody. People have said stuff, but nobody's saying stuff to his face.
Yeah.
He's unranked in the UFC, but he'll still whoop you.
Yeah. Real brave over Twitter. Yeah. So, there you have it, folks. If you don't listen, you're not really black.
Alrighty. Y'all have a great week and God bless.